r/nosleep. Posted by u/fluffyboy2. The Bell Ringer in Laventown School. First Class, The Bell Ringer. Part 1, Prologue. Ha. 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 The boy slides down, breathing heavily. He was tired from running. Ring ring. The boy's face grew whiter and whiter as the sound of the bell came close to him, and finally, ring. Laventown School, a school located in a small town. It is the biggest building in the whole town, which is why elementary, middle and high schoolers studied in the same school. For each grade, there are 8 separate classes, for example, 1A to 1H or 2A to 2H and so on. By calculating all of the classrooms only, there are 96 classrooms. If we add rooms like the principal room, the library, etc., the number will reach over 100. The amounts of students are even higher. And that's why, many beings from the other side also gather there. Sitting in a classroom was a boy named Vincent. He is an 8th grader who has been studying in the school since he was in 1st grade. Like many other schools, this school also has ghost stories and such. Vincent usually hears about them, and one of the most interesting stories he had heard about was the bell ringer. Apparently, the bell ringer is a monster that will get you when you're alone. For example, it is rumored that if you go to the bathroom alone, chances are the bell ringer will come and get you. There were also rules to avoid him, and it is said that all of the ghosts have different rules set. They have one thing in common, and that is they can't get outside of the school. The bell ringer has quite a long rule set. 1. Never go alone. If you need to go to the restroom, or go anywhere, have someone go with you or wait until the restroom, or the place you go to, is busy. 2. Never go into the room where your next class took place, because if you do when the time for that class comes, the bell ringer will ring his bell and you will be taken away by him. 3. Do not get caught by the bell ringer. He would only step slowly towards you with a bell in one of his hands. Though his walking is quite fast. But you could outrun him quite easily. 4. If you got caught by the bell ringer before lunch, you must wait until lunchtime before you could get back to the normal school. And if you get caught after lunch, you must wait until school ended before you could get back to the normal world. 5. The bell ringer always sees you, so hiding is useless, run instead. Vincent half believe, half not when it comes to supernatural things, probably because he has never witnessed a paranormal sight firsthand. He still gets goosebumps from the stories. Then, class started. The first subject was math. It's one of the subjects that Vincent hates the most. He would spend most of the time in math class dozing off or just drawing doodles in his notebook. But while he was drawing a childish-like character, he got the urge to pee. So he raised his hand. "May I go to the restroom?" The teacher turned over to him and gave a slight nod. However, Vincent continued, "Can I bring someone with me?" The whole class laughed. Even the teacher was confused as to why he would want to do such a thing. When the teacher asked why, Vincent could only stand still. He was like a statue. Then, out of embarrassment and the urge to pee, he headed out of the classroom and headed straight into the bathroom on the 2nd floor. He was a little scared, but thanks to the lights in the restroom, he felt quite calm. He went inside of a stall and pee. A thought ran across his mind. Class should be ending in about 10 minutes. If so, then why did he hear a sound like the sound to tell that the first class has ended? The sound of a bell. First class, the bell ringer. Part 2, before lunch. A bell? But it is just the first period? The first period shouldn't have ended until 10 more minutes. But even if it did end. At Laventown School, when a period ended, there would be a sound cue played through speakers placed around the school. The bell is only rung when it is lunchtime or when it is time for students to get back home. So the fact that there was a bell sound at such a weird time is unusual. Vincent walked out of the bathroom, and then the long hallway was darker than usual. As if Vincent got transported into another world where he wasn't supposed to be. Bring bring. And in that same long hallway, was the sound of someone ringing a bell. Vincent was too scared to say something. The bell sound keeps on getting closer and closer. It was soon before a silhouette appeared in front of Vincent's eyes. It was someone in casual clothes, a man in casual clothing to be exact. He looks old and is like a human, but something about him seems off. There was a bell on his hand and he shook it every few seconds. Vincent stood still, scared. The story he heard about came back to his mind. That was when he realized, he was chosen as a target for the bell ringer. The man was walking toward Vincent, steps by steps. But walking is usually way slower compared to what the man was doing. His walking speed was doubled if you are looking at it from the perspective of an average person. Vincent finally built up the courage and immediately turned right and immediately dashed off. He doesn't have any plan in mind besides running away from the bell ringer. When he flew down the stairs, he made up his mind to escape through the main doors. He ran down into the main hallway and then over to the front entrance. Vincent was relieved when he sees lights beyond the doors, but then... Huh? He reached his hand over the knob and turned it, but the door didn't open. Why isn't it? He frowned while frantically trying to open the door. He kept trying and trying until the bell sound once again got closer to him. Hide, I need to hide. Vincent panicked, trying to think of a way to escape from the bell ringer. Someone who is panicking and thinking at the same time usually leads to the worst result. It has been said before that hiding was useless, the bell ringer always knows where you are. He ran to the library and hid among rows of bookshelves. He crouched down, hiding quietly. Bing burn. The bell sound was at the library's entrance. Vincent used his hands to cover his mouth. And slowly, someone steps inside. How long has it been since he first got out of the restroom? In the morning, there are 4 periods before lunch started. And each period lasted around 45 minutes. If Vincent does some guessing, it hasn't been more than 10 minutes since he left the restroom. When he remembered that is also when he remembered the rules again. Then Rule 5, the rule that implied hiding is useless, hit Vincent. He stood up and was about to run forward out of the library, but then... Brian Bryn. The bell ringer was in front of him, walking toward Vincent at a high speed while ringing the bell in his hand. Vincent immediately fell backward and used his hands as a standing point to lift himself up. He stumbles while screaming, almost to the point of crying. When he finally got back on his feet, he ran the other way and out of the library. What was the next period? A thought ran across his mind. He doesn't pay much attention in class, so he rarely looks at the timetable. He just runs and runs and runs, and finally more than 30 minutes passed. He was too tired, so he opened the door to the piano room and hid inside. He slides down from the door, breathing, gasping for air. Ring ring. The bell sound gets closer and closer to Vincent. His face also grew paler the more ringing sound there were. And finally... ring. That ring was different from the other rings. 45 minutes passed, which means a new period has started. And in Vincent's class, the next class was... the music class, took place in the piano room. This is it, this is the end. Or so Vincent thought. He closed his eyes, sobbing quietly. Oh, what are you doing here, bell ringer? It was a voice, coming from somewhere outside the door that separates Vincent and the bell ringer. That kid is my prey, don't you think about taking him? Another voice said, although what he said made him sound aggressive, he was actually calm. The kid inside the piano room? Unfortunately, he is now my prey. He has entered my territory. The voice of a woman said. Don't think that you can take my prey just because you are stronger than me. The man chuckles. Is that so? I'm taking him because he violated my rule and is in my territory. He also violated my rule. But is he in your territory? He is actually in my territory, according to one of my rules. That's true, but the piano room is the place I fully control, so you have no choice but to leave him here for me. Then, there was silence. Just as expected from the piano player. Now I got to witness your power. It seems like the other monsters weren't exaggerating. Oh please, you are making me shy with those compliments. Ha ha ha, I guess I do have to leave my prey here for you then. It won't happen again. Then, someone steps away from the piano room calmly. Sigh, it seems that you got here from violating his rules, so you could only escape following his rules. Lunch should start in about 2 to 3 more periods. Don't worry, he won't kill you. Because now, you are now my prey. The piano player. You will escape from this place, but I will meet you again later. Until then, lives well. Vincent at the point was too scared to even think. And after a while... chattering. There was chattering outside and on the school ground. Someone was ringing a bell, signifying that lunchtime has arrived. Vincent stood up and headed outside. He was like a walking corpse. He walked past the man who rang the bell. And as he did so, the man looks at Vincent while smiling softly. Lunchtime has come. Please gather at the cafeteria. The man yelled, ringing his bell.